You check it before you even open your eyes. You trust it more than your own instincts. You plan your day around it, panic when you lose track of it, and feel relief when it tells you you're early. The clock is so ordinary, so silent, so unquestioned, that most people never stop to wonder how something so simple ended up ruling the entire human world. But here's the strange truth: for most of human history, clocks didn't exist, and people lived their lives just fine without knowing the exact time. So how did we go from watching shadows on the ground to obeying glowing numbers on a screen? And more importantly, when did time stop being something we observed and start being something that controlled us? Long before gears, batteries, or digital displays, ancient civilizations tried to measure time using whatever they could observe. The earliest timekeepers weren't machines at all. They were shadows. Thousands of years ago, people realized that the sun's position changed predictably, and by placing a stick upright in the ground, they could track the movement of its shadow. This simple discovery led to the invention of sundials, one of humanity's first attempts to divide the day into measurable pieces. But sundials had a problem. They only worked when the sun was visible. Nighttime, cloudy days, or storms instantly made them useless. Humans had tasted the power of measuring time, and now they wanted more reliable control. So they turned to water. Ancient engineers created water clocks, devices that measured time through the steady flow of liquid from one container to another. These appeared in multiple civilizations, from Egypt to China to Greece, each culture refining the design. Water clocks could run at night, indoors, and even underground. But they weren't perfect. Temperature changes affected water flow. Evaporation caused inaccuracies. And if someone accidentally bumped the device, time itself would suddenly speed up or slow down. Imagine missing an important meeting because someone sneezed near your clock. Still, despite their flaws, water clocks proved something revolutionary: time could be engineered. Then came fire. Some cultures used candle clocks or incense clocks, where the burning rate marked the passage of hours. As the flame traveled down measured markings, people could literally watch time disappear into smoke. It was poetic, but not very precise. Wind could accelerate the burn. Wax quality varied. And once the candle burned out, timekeeping stopped completely. Humanity needed something more stable, something mechanical, something that didn't rely on nature's mood swings. That breakthrough arrived in medieval Europe with the invention of mechanical clocks. Instead of shadows or liquids, these used gears, weights, and escapements to regulate motion. Early mechanical clocks were enormous machines installed in towers, not small devices you could carry. They didn't even have minute hands at first. They simply rang bells to mark the passing hours, mainly for churches and monasteries so monks would know when to pray. Time wasn't personal yet. It was communal. The clock told the whole town what hour it was, and everyone listened. But once people realized machines could measure time automatically, innovation exploded. Clockmakers competed to make mechanisms more accurate, more compact, and more reliable. The invention of the pendulum clock in the 1600s was a massive leap forward. By using a swinging weight to regulate movement, these clocks became dramatically more precise than anything before them. Suddenly, time could be divided into minutes, then seconds. And that changed everything. Because once you can measure something precisely, you can control it. Factories began organizing work shifts. Ships used precise timekeeping to calculate longitude at sea. Scientists relied on accurate clocks for experiments. Society started synchronizing itself around measured time instead of natural rhythms. The clock was no longer just a tool. It was becoming the invisible skeleton of civilization. Then came portability. Pocket watches allowed individuals to carry time with them. For the first time in history, time was no longer tied to a building or a public bell tower. It lived in your pocket. This shifted power from institutions to individuals, but it also created a new kind of pressure. If you had your own clock, you were responsible for your own schedule. Being late stopped being an accident and started being a personal failure. The Industrial Revolution intensified this relationship. Trains needed strict schedules to avoid collisions. Businesses demanded punctual employees. Schools rang bells to control student movement. Time became standardized across regions, leading to the creation of time zones. Think about that for a moment. Humans literally divided the planet into artificial slices just to keep clocks consistent. The sun didn't change. The earth didn't change. We changed time itself to match our machines. Then wristwatches arrived and made time even more intimate. No longer tucked away in a pocket, the clock was strapped directly to your body. Soldiers used wristwatches during wars to coordinate attacks down to the second. Pilots relied on them for navigation. Athletes measured performance with them. Time wasn't just being tracked anymore. It was being optimized. And then came the digital age, when clocks stopped ticking and started glowing. Quartz technology replaced mechanical gears with vibrating crystals, making timekeeping astonishingly accurate and affordable. Digital clocks spread everywhere, on walls, dashboards, ovens, phones, computers. Time was suddenly unavoidable. You couldn't escape it even if you tried. It stared back at you from every screen. But here's the twist most people never think about. The clock didn't just change how we measure time. It changed how we experience life. Before precise clocks, people described time loosely. They said things like morning, midday, or after sunset. After clocks, life became segmented into exact units. 8 o'clock, 8:15. 8:30, deadlines. Schedules. Alarms. Meetings. The clock didn't just measure reality. It reshaped it. Psychologists even argue that our modern sense of urgency, stress, and time pressure is directly linked to mechanical timekeeping. When every second can be counted, every second can also be wasted. And once society agreed on standardized time, lateness became a moral issue instead of a natural occurrence. The clock silently introduced discipline, productivity culture, and the idea that time is something you can spend, save, or lose. Yet despite all our technology, the basic purpose of the clock hasn't changed in centuries. It still answers the same simple question: what time is it? But behind that simple answer lies thousands of years of experimentation, failure, invention, and obsession. From shadows to gears to crystals to atomic oscillations, humanity has been chasing perfect timekeeping like it's the ultimate prize. Today, atomic clocks are so precise they won't lose a second in millions of years. They regulate GPS satellites, internet networks, and global financial systems. Without them, navigation would fail, communications would desynchronize, and modern infrastructure would collapse. The most advanced technologies on Earth depend on the same idea that started with a stick casting a shadow in the dirt. So the next time you glance at a clock, remember you're not just checking the time. You're looking at the result of thousands of years of human curiosity, engineering, and obsession with measuring the invisible. That small device on your wall or wrist is part ancient science experiment, part industrial revolution engine, and part psychological ruler of your daily life. And here's something to think about. Do we control the clock, or does the clock control us? If this made you see everyday objects differently, comment below what ordinary thing you want uncovered next. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next story hiding inside something you use every single day. Because once you understand the history of simple things, you start realizing, nothing around you is actually simple.